Wait, hold up.
Okay,
Hold
we're
up, hold up,
recording.
we're
We're recording.
recording.
All right. Greetings,
Greetings.
civilians,
And welcome to the Machiavellian and
Cheese
Cheese podcast
with
me,
by me,
Anaisa.
Anaisa.
And me, Sophia.
And me, Sabrina.
And today, we are all dressed up in different eras of history. I'll let you guys introduce your respective time periods, and we'll start with Sabrina's.
I'm dressed in Victorian fashion, and the era lasted from the mid-1800s to the early 1900s.
The Renaissance occurred during the 1500s through 1600, which is what I'm dressed as. Coincidentally, it's also the era in which Machiavelli's The Prince was written.
And
last but certainly not least,
I am representing the medieval period,
from the 14th century to the 15th century.
This episode will be about Machiavelli's The Prince and how this piece of literature contributes to multiple philosophical and/or political beliefs and how it applies to real life.
We'll be covering a variety of topics today, including the prince's relevance to history, both predating and following it. And we'll also be going over the influence of Cesare Borgia, both within and outside the book. And finally, we'll be comparing Machiavelli's morals and methods for leading days, as well as discussing the impact of the prince on philosophy.
Okay, so I think it's good to start off with talking about the history of this book, because literally this man went from I'm gonna exclusively write about republics to being like, this is one book I'll talk about monarchies. We'll talk about them this one time, and then coincidentally this is the book that blows up for him. Not the one about republics, just the ones about princes. So that's quite unfortunate, but considering his entire rest of the discography is talking about that, but yeah. So when you guys were reading it, and I guess we'll structure the podcast to be this way, was there anything stood out in terms of how this book was written and why it was written?
I
think
I feel like it's very straightforward.
Yeah, it doesn't really sugarcoat anything.
No, it doesn't. And knowing Machiavelli's character, I think it very much reflects on his own writing.
I do want to make a point, though, is that it was written in Italian. So the PDF you were given for class was a PDF of the, I think, most recent version, the most recently translated version. So what I went ahead and did when I was looking for my quotes for another assignment is that I compared the recently translated version to the previous translated version. And let me just tell you, the recent one simplifies a lot of things. You couldn't really actually find the prince being referred to as a prince. The real translation of the prince to some degree is a monarch, because that's why it's referred to as a monarchy. But the way Machiavelli writes the prince, it's rarely ever actually talking about princes specifically, because a prince implies that there was some kind of ruler before him, and that's really only related to hierarchies, and specifically ancestral hierarchies. But a lot of the princes when it's talking about is not that.
Okay, pause. Hold on. You're gonna have to cut this out.
Okay, I got you. I can cut it out.
Pause.
Don't worry. I'm gonna keep recording it, but I'm just gonna cut it out.
Okay. So I came home and the door was open, so I missed what you said. What were you saying?
Want me to continue recording? Or no?
Okay.
You want me to continue recording or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Basically what I was saying was that the translated versions of The Prince kind of let you know, or at least the original translator of the PDF we were given lets you know just how much of the quote-unquote The Prince was translated in a misleading way. So it's really the monarch or the ruler that it really should be translating to, because otherwise the prince implies that there was a king that was the father of the prince beforehand, and that's not what the book exclusively talks about. It's really only related to ancestral monarchs, and that's not always the case.
Okay. All right. So do we want to just pick up from there, or get to a different point?
I think we could talk about it a little bit more.
Okay.
Just a little bit more. I also want to bring up, or if someone wants to bring up, like, who he wrote it for. Because The Prince wasn't really directed to be this large-scale release. It was more so, created for an actual prince. Kind of.
But it was. Did he not write it for the current prince of his time while he was writing this, while he was imprisoned?
Yes, yeah, Sabrina, if you want to talk about it, go ahead.
Oh,
If you need to look anything up, I'll cut it out. Don't worry. I'm sorry, I'm like spitballing here.
No, it's okay. I just want to get this done.
oh, sorry, there's no. Okay. I feel like him writing the book for somebody else was just like, how do I word this? It's like that in and of itself is displaying his character, if that makes sense. Like doing something like that for someone in power to gain favor.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
It's like a mentor. But you can
Because he was, while he was in prison, he was really bitter about it because he's lost a lot of his fortune. So it was very Machiavellian of him to write to the prince himself and give all of these contrasting ideas for his favor. So that in itself is a reflection of how he's presented this idea of a Machiavellian character.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say it's kind of contradictory because he's doing something nice for someone else, but like not in the presence of anybody but himself and the current prince. But also, it is like in line with his character, like because he's doing it for favor, like for his own benefit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to point out that we keep mentioning the prince. The prince is a name. So this was Prince Lorenzo. I'm pretty sure he was kind of. He's not directly related to the bloodline. He's in the family, but he's not like the son directly of whoever ruled prior. I think it was a priest. Don't quote me on that. He wasn't a direct son. He was more like a relative. So yeah, Machiavelli allegedly wrote the prince for him and dresses him as such. But it's weird because, like I said before, it's not really what the book is totally about. The book is more so about strategy. But ironically, because he kind of acts like a role model to him, we can talk about the next point is Borgia, right? Borgia?
Borgia.
Yes.
Borgia.
Is it Borgia? I thought it was Borgia.
No,
it's Borgia.
I thought it was Borgia too, but no, it's Borgia.
Borgia.
Okay.
So, and Borgia was this not even mentor figure towards Machiavelli, more just so a figure that he could be inspired from, an inspiration behind the prince. Let's talk about him for a bit.
He's basically Machiavelli's prime example of how a ruler should be.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think we explicitly said it, but he seemed to like admire the way he acted. Like
He mentions him
through
a
his
lot
yeah.
in the story.
Yeah, how he ruled, how brutal and reckless he was. Well, not reckless. Kind of just how bold he was as a ruler. To really serve as a blueprint for everybody after him as to what to do, what not to do. Let me go actually find out what exactly went wrong. Because he does mention a flaw that he has as a ruler, and I think it's important.
I'm pretty sure this thing was Borgia eventually fell from power.
Yeah, but there's
But
a
then-
reason for that.
Um,
Oh, yes,
think-
I found it.
What?
He had ties to the church because okay, no, his dad was the
father.
Pope. Yeah.
Mhm.
So he didn't eliminate the Pope's influence when his father died. So he let it just keep influencing the people around him. Which didn't allow for him to make a better foundation as him as a sole ruler of his land, and I think that was the main problem. Kind of similar to how like Louis I forgot which Louis it was.
14,
The 14th?
maybe.
Guys.
But Machiavelli argued that was his father dying and being affected from that wasn't necessarily his fault, but rather just bad luck. Since his whole thing is rulers need both oh my god, what is it called? Virtue and Fortuna?
Yeah.
That was his whole thing.
Louis XII
Oh, was it? Okay.
also suffered in the hands of not eliminating the church, which I'm noticing is a common pattern. Just don't let the church win. That should be the new Machiavelli quote. Don't let the church win. Pretend to be religious. Don't let the church win.
I think that can. Oh, sorry. What was it?
That's a good point, because once the print was actually published, the church banned it and deemed it an immoral piece of literature.
Fair. Very fair.
Because secret whisper. He didn't like the church that much. He didn't like the church that much.
And also, a lot of his ideals were considered immoral. That's why the book became so controversial at the time.
What I think I was going to mention, going back to our previous point about how Lorenzo was it?
Yes.
Yeah, about how Lorenzo lost his power. I think that's why he so heavily stresses getting rid of any opposition, but also because he saw how Lorenzo lost his power and it went back to the church. That's why he so stresses appearing as someone who is aligned with the church.
I get that.
But yeah.
Okay, so does anyone want to introduce the next point in our discussion?
Yeah, 1 second.
It was comparing Machiavelli's methods into today's society.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, let's
Did
talk
you
about. Yeah, I can introduce it like briefly by bringing up something. So when we think of modern day rulers, who do we think of? Because you have like various examples of old rulers, like Alexander the Great, for example. But what about new rulers?
I'm gonna be blunt. New rulers I feel like there's a very big difference in the way leaders are presenting themselves compared to in the past. I'm not naming any names, but I feel like there is a big lack of respect towards the people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
Like,
hmm.
okay, and a lot of modern leaders that I'm seeing, again, not naming names, but I feel like they're taking in the extremist version of a Machiavellian and almost kind of contradictory to his actual thing, because most leaders nowadays are wanting and acquiring power from self-interest and not of the interest of their people.
Like, for example, also not to name any names, but you know, recently there were a whole bunch of very loud, very populated protests, and
Not to name any names.
right, and from those, nothing came of those. Like the the grievances of the people went unacknowledged. If that makes sense. So, yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else?
I mean, is there anybody else we can like? discuss?
I think we can maybe assess some of the 1900s, quote unquote, rulers. Though there was significantly less killing of other rulers by their needs. I think there was more of a need to kill our enemies directly back then than there is now, because everyone has land that is technically theirs. No one really resorts to killing leaders anymore. Kill the people. Kill your own people. But let's not kill leaders. That is the least and most direct way of me referencing the person I am speaking of. No leaders were technically killed.
Well,
If you catch my drift of the let's conquer other countries, other territories, but we're not gonna kill their leaders. We're just gonna take over.
Not only that, but quote unquote, like, rivalries in modern time between, like, I don't know, political leaders are a lot different compared to Machiavelli's time, because Machiavelli's time, they were, you know, actually fighting to the death. But in our time, everything is a lot more digital. You know, for example, like, America is always having problems with alleged Chinese hackers taking our information, that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's just the way that politics have developed over the years. Like, it's less about directly killing other people and more about like touching on their
Yes, and
affecting their social standing, if that makes sense.
And even with that shift in how we deal with our opponents, there's still you can still find hints of Machiavellianism, because yes, we're not fighting on a physical battlefield anymore, but almost every country is finding a way to try and build up their power.
Yeah. Like the more social, like reputation, like reputation-wise aspects of the prince carried over like into modern day politics. Like less of the fighting and more of the keep your image together.
And you can see that a lot within social media.
Also,
I think that covers it. Oh, go ahead.
I do want to add one last thing, because we were recently talking about advertisements as well. I think propaganda plays a huge role into how we perceive leaders nowadays, because there wasn't as much of that back then. It was just more so like, here's my power, here's a statue that I have of myself, here are the artists I commissioned to make my own portraits. But it wasn't like, oh, vote me for president, as there is now, where it's just slandering people, not killing them, not assassinating them, kind of, not openly wanting to declare war, just slandering their name. And I think it's really important to note how much Machiavelli has inspired leaders, but it's also so important to note just how much reputation has really grown to matter in modern day politics.
And like,
oh, sorry. I was gonna say, I think like a decent metaphor for it would be just like your reputation being like, if you put reputation in place of life in the prince, like having your supporters go and ruin someone's image as opposed to killing them. If like, I'd say like that's how modern politics work now. Like instead of your life, it's your image.
oh wait, you kind of cooked with that.
Whoa. Oh, my mic can pick up my clicking, kind of, sort of.
Yes, I can hear.
Good job. But I think that should be it, because we are actually going way over the time limit with this.
Oh, really?
Yes, we're at a whopping 22 minutes.
What?
Yes. Of the recording. So while everybody who hears this will not be hearing 22 minutes of audio, I will be having to edit 22 minutes of audio. So yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It'll be okay. But thank you so much for tuning in. This will be really fun to edit. I no longer have a British accent.
So you had to let that go right there.
That is a blooper reel kind of thing, but I no longer have a British accent. You could thank me. I slowly dissolved it during the course of this podcast. They had to deal with me an hour before us recording, where I would only speak in a British accent.
Unironically, speaking in a British accent.
We're not joking.
But it's okay. It's okay. They just don't get it, guys.
It wasn't okay.
But it was.
Threatening Issa to stop.
And it didn't work.
Don't say that. No, I'm obedient. See, it's back. It's back because you said that.
Right. Look what you've done.
God. Oh god. Instantly mentioned it.
Yeah, so it's back now. So thank you so much for watching the podcast. Hashtag like and subscribe, because I realized I had to put this on to YouTube. So hashtag like and subscribe.
Machiavellian.
Hashtag everything. Yeah, I guess.
Give us a 141.
Hashtag give us a like and subscribe and share the video with your friends and comment on the video. And for the record, this will not be going up on Spotify. No.
Cool music, maybe?
Okay. Just post it on YouTube.
Yeah. But that's what we're going to be sticking with, kids.
Yeah.
Alright, everyone say goodbye to the podcast.
Bye.
Bye-bye.